So UFC 290 just took place, and Alexandre Pantoja did defeat Brandon Moreno, in my opinion, and also in the opinion of the judges, but in the opinion of a lot of fans genuinely believe that Brandon Moreno won this fight, so I did want to talk about the decision. I did want to talk about the people that are screaming robbery, and I did want to talk about the people that are calling Alexandre Pantoja a crotch-sniffing, boring fighter. They didn't watch this fight. This was one of the best fights of the entire year. This was one of the best title fights of the entire year. This was fun. And not only that, whenever Pantoja got a takedown, he was going for submissions or ground and pound. And it was fun. It was a fun fight. It was a fun grappling fight as well, even though a lot of it did take place on the feet. But I did want to talk about the decision in this matchup. I think, though, before I do get talking into the specifics of the decision, I think the problem is people had no idea who Alexandre Pantoja was. Everyone watching this fight was a big fan of Brandon Moreno, and they had absolutely no idea who Pantoja was, and that's why they're so mad that Pantoja won this fight. Because Alexandre Pantoja, people just didn't seem to know who he is. People in the comments after the fight seem to have absolutely no idea who he is. They don't understand that Pantoja is 3-0 over Moreno now, because someone commented this should get a rematch. I'm just thinking, it shouldn't get an immediate rematch. Pantoja's up 3 fights over this guy. But anyway, people just didn't know who Pantoja was, and I think that is a bias that they play into it. Here's how I see the fight. Pantoja won rounds number 1 very clearly. Brandon Moreno won round number 2 very clearly. Pantoja round number 5 very clearly. However, round 3 and 4 are close rounds, and upon further review after rewatching the rounds, I actually rewatched the rounds twice. I rewatched round 3 twice, and I rewatched round 4 twice. I've come to the decision I was wrong in my initial reading on round number 4. I thought that Pantoja won round number 4 when I was watching it live. I thought Pantoja won 4-1. However, upon further review, upon further rewatching, I think Moreno should have won the 4th round. He should have won the 4th round. He did more damage. He hurt Pantoja with a head kick at one point, and he was just looking really, really good on the feet in that round. Pantoja got a lot of control, but at the end of the day, he got absolutely nothing done with that control. But when it comes to the 3rd round, it's a different story. I think Pantoja won this 3rd round, and I think because he won the 3rd round, he won the fight. I think he won rounds 1, 3, rounds 1, 3, and 5. And that's how the judges that scored it for Pantoja saw it, and I agree with those judges. I thought initially when I watched the fight, I thought Pantoja round 1, 3, 4, and 5. I was wrong on round number 4. I will admit that I was wrong when I thought Pantoja won 4-1. But upon further review, I think Pantoja won 3-2, so it didn't really change my opinion on the fight. But to talk about round number 3, because I did rewatch this round a couple of times, as I did say. It starts off with a knee to the balls from Pantoja, which is not great, but it didn't really affect anything. We're only 10 seconds into the fight, then we move on. Pantoja gets a takedown early, controls the back of Brandon Moreno for over 1 minute. Now, you could say Pantoja was doing no damage at all in there. But however, the rules are, as much as I do preach the damage rule, effective striking and grappling. Alexandre Pantoja was fighting hard for a rear naked choke, and it was a very effective grappling in that instance. So I would say Pantoja did score a couple of points, I guess you could say, from that 3rd round. Brandon Moreno did end up reversing it, got a good amount of ground and pound away. Good for Brandon Moreno. They end up standing up on the feet. This is what's most interesting about it. Both guys are scrapping, and both guys are probably landing about the same sort of amount of shots. Maybe Brandon Moreno's landing more volume, but he's not doing that much damage until he lands a really nice head kick, which does stumble Alexandre Pantoja a little bit. But then Alexandre Pantoja goes out there and lands a really nice left hook in that 3rd round at about 2 minutes 30 exactly on round number 3. Alexandre Pantoja lands a really fantastic left hook, which I would say is a very significant strike and probably matches the head kick that Brandon Moreno did manage to hurt Pantoja with. And then when we go further on in the fight, Pantoja gets another takedown. He gets a bit of control, does a little bit of ground and pound, falls off the top. Brandon Moreno ends up reversing him and gets on top. But this is a very key part of the round, which I think not a lot of people are going to talk about. I genuinely believe this. Pantoja hurt Brandon Moreno with an up kick. As soon as they got reversed, Brandon Moreno went to stand up above Alexandre Pantoja, and as he did that, Pantoja landed a flush up kick. Now, if you watch it on 1 times speed in the replay, it doesn't look like it lands, but if you watch it at 0.25 times speed, it clearly lands. Brandon Moreno's head gets kicked back a little bit, and Pantoja obviously hit him with that up kick, and that hurt Moreno. And then not only that, Pantoja managed to have a lot of success with a lot of elbows. He's kind of throwing these weird elbows when he was underneath Brandon Moreno, and he was landing a lot of good damage when he was on his back against Brandon Moreno. They eventually stand up. It's kind of the end of the round. Pantoja didn't look that great at the end of the round, but I do believe Pantoja won that round. I think overall he was the more effective striker and grappler. I think Moreno was doing good on the feet, But when it come down to the damage, Pantoja was able to do more damage than Moreno overall. And I think that up kick, I genuinely believe that up kick was a big key in the part of Alexandre Pantoja doing a lot of damage. And also those elbows, man, he was relentless when he was on his back. Relentless getting Moreno. So I believe that. That's how I see the fight. I think Pantoja won round 3, won 1, 3, and 5. I thought initially, he won 1, 3, 4, and 5. However, I believe I was wrong. I think he shouldn't have got the 4th round. I think that scorecard by me was a little bit incorrect. That is my mistake. However, I do believe Pantoja still won the fight, and so does the majority of people. The media score it. The media, and if anything, the media would be biased towards Brandon Moreno because obviously Brandon Moreno was like the big star in this matchup. But if you do look to it, most of the media members scored it to Pantoja. There's only, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 media members that scored the event for Brandon Moreno, and then there's it almost looks like 20 or more media members scoring it for Pantoja. A lot of them going 49-46. One of them going with a crazy 49-45 scorecard. I don't think it was that dominant, but I think the worst scorecard we've ever seen is actually a 49-46 for Moreno. Giving Brandon Moreno the 3rd and the 4th round isn't that bad because they are close rounds, but giving him the 5th is unreal. But now that I've addressed that, I'm going to address the fans that are screaming robbery. I've done that. I'm going to address the fans that are screaming Pantoja is a crotch-sniffing, boring fighter. You have never seen a Pantoja fight in your life. This guy is going to be a great champion. He's going to be fun. He's probably going to be active. He hasn't been that active recently, but now that he's champ, I guarantee you we're going to see Pantoja fight often. I think he might even fight Brandon Royval soon because Brandon Royval weighed in as a backup. He's gone on a little bit of a streak since then. He's on a 3 fight win streak actually. A win over Nicolau, a win over Schnell and Bontarin. I think he deserves a title shot. You know, I mean, we can't really do the rematch. Pantoja's already beaten Brandon Moreno 3 times. He beat Brandon Moreno in 2023, but you do have to go way back to see the first time, which is in 2016, and then he beat him again in 2018. So he's beaten him 3 times now. You can't market a 4th fight yet. I think Brandon Moreno is probably 1 fight away from a title shot because this fight was close, but I don't believe you should just give Brandon Moreno an immediate rematch. He's already got immediate rematches with when he was fighting oh my god, Davison Figueiredo. So let's give Brandon Moreno a contender, a guy. Maybe you give Brandon Moreno Mateus Nicolau potentially, and then we can do Pantoja versus a fresh matchup at the championship level. It's not a fresh matchup for Pantoja, but I think you should give him Brandon Royval. Brandon Royval's never got a title shot before. Or maybe if Pantoja wants to wait, they could do Pantoja versus the winner of Karp versus Kai Kara-France, or Amir Albazi, maybe. I forgot about him as well. But at the end of the day, the man that weighed in as the backup was Brandon Royval. Brandon Royval weighed in as the backup for that fight. So I think you've got to give Brandon Royval the fight. And then you can maybe you could do Moreno versus Albazi, actually. I think Albazi would lose that fight. I think Brandon Moreno would beat Amir Albazi because he's so much better on the feet. But let me know what you think. Let me know what you think in the comments. Do you agree or do you disagree? Because I'm pretty strong. I think Pantoja won this fight. So let me know what you think in the comments, and I will see you guys in the next one.